Hi there. In this video, as you can see, I've parked up in my car on the side of the road. Now this road behind me, although not very busy at the moment, it can be very busy, and it's known for lots of car accidents because cars are driving very fast along this road. You should see them whizzing past me shortly. And I want to talk to you today about how to help somebody if you come across a road traffic accident. Now, traffic accidents can range between minor incidences, such as a bicycle crash, or much more serious incidences like a vehicle crash. And every year, anywhere from 20 to 50 million people across the globe are hurt or injured or just involved in a car accident. And because accidents are so common, you might find yourself in a position where you're going to have to help some victims. But you might not know what to do. And this is where we're going to come in, and we're going to provide you with some knowledge that you will be able to use if you find yourself in this position. So don't forget to watch this video all the way through to the end so you can help somebody if you find yourself involved or witnessing a road traffic accident. And please hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our weekly videos. So first of all, if we're the first person that's dealing with it, we need to make sure that we pull up safely to the side of the road and put our hazards on a car, as well as turn off the ignition. And please remember, your hazards will work even though the car is not running. Now, if the victim is in the road, you might want to use your car as a barrier. But make sure your car is safely out of traffic lanes and not blocking access to the scene or victim in any way, because obviously you do want the emergency services to be able to come and help them. Next, we need to stay calm. It's really important for the victims that we stay calm, and also we're going to try and calm down everybody else that's involved, because staying calm and collected can prevent panic within the group as well as minimise any damage. So if you feel yourself panicking, take a deep breath to refocus or delegate tasks to each other at the scene. We're going to try and quickly establish how many vehicles have been involved. We're going to assess the occupants of all the vehicles to ensure that no one has any life-threatening injuries. You might also want to see if there are any children or pets and maybe remove them to any safe location if they're not actually injured. We need to make sure that we are safe as well. So in the position we are in, are we safe? Because we don't want to be added to the list of casualties as well. And once you've made that quick assessment of the accident, we're going to call the emergency services using whatever number you would have for your country. So here in the UK, we'd use 999. If there's any witnesses there, we're also going to ask them to be able to call the emergency services as well, because they might have other information that maybe you haven't seen. Because remember, the more information the emergency services have, the better they can respond to the accident or the incident. We're going to give the operator information such as our location, the number of victims, and other details you have noticed about the scene. We're going to describe any specific locations, including any landmarks that can help responders find exactly where you are. Remember, we can use what 3 words if you're not sure where you are. That's an app you download. I'll leave the link for the video down below as well so you can watch how to set that up on your phones. But you also might want to look at little posts on the side of the road. So a lot of main roads now have little posts which are location markers that you can give to the emergency services. Then you might actually need to be able to provide a first aid to the casualties. Now, as a general rule of thumb, we should always go to the quiet ones first. If people are screaming, shouting for help, they are breathing. Therefore, they should be okay. And we need to check the ones that are quiet first. So we're going to quickly check to see if the quiet casualties are responsive. Because if there's no response, we then need to check to see if they're breathing. If they are unresponsive and breathing, we need to maintain an airway. And ideally, we need to do that with as little movement as possible. If the person is not breathing, then obviously we need to begin CPR. And I'll leave the link for that in the description below so you know how to do that. We're only going to remove an unconscious person from a vehicle if there is an immediate danger to their life, maybe from fire, flood, or maybe an explosion. We're going to ask the emergency services over the phone for their advice as what to do, because it is very difficult to remove an unconscious person from a vehicle, and there is a major danger you could worsen their injuries and injure yourself in the process. So this should always be a last resort. Conscious casualties, though, they should be in the care of bystanders and removed from the wreckage to a safe area, ideally behind a barrier if there is such a thing. You need to also be aware of confused and dazed casualties who may wander into danger. If there are any bystanders around, we need to brief them to keep the casualties warm and calm and ask them to contact the next of kin. We need to look out for any major bleeding and life-threatening injuries and treat them first. And if there are any additional people around, we can show them how to support the person's neck to avoid them twisting it, as there might be a possibility of a spinal injury. Ideally, we're going to try and wear gloves and apply dressings to control any severe bleeding. Now, I carry a first aid kit in the car with me that has gloves in there, has face shields, has lots of trauma dressings, tourniquets, lots of things that I might need if I ever did come across a road traffic accident. Touch wood, I've never had to use it yet, but it's best to be prepared, and I'd always encourage you guys to have a first aid kit in the car with you as well. When the emergency services arrive, try and hand over to them as best you possibly can, explaining where all the casualties are and the times of the incident, times of treatment if you have actually done anything. And then when you do get home that night, just think about yourself. Our mental health is just as important as that casualty's physical health. Think about how you're coping, talk to family and friends, and you might want to go and speak to your doctor or get some professional help because you might have coped with it perfectly fine. But actually, that night, the next day, the next week, you might want to be talking to someone about what you've experienced. Thanks for listening, guys.